One of the techniques was using sand in sand trays, and she always had 2 sand trays, one with wet sand and one with dry sand, because the feeling in them are quite different, and they are used to express different feelings. In my experience, my professional experience as a child psychotherapist, they tended to be more exploratory using dry sand, because they can drain the sand through their fingertips. They are just sort of feeling it and feeling into what is it I'm trying to say. One of the things which we always watch for is how they start. Some children would, for instance, take a toy, look at it, put it down outside the sand tray, and then pick it up again when she has assembled all the toys she wanted. Then they make it into the sand tray. But sometimes they actually don't do that at all. They actually just grab one, grab the other, and they go straight in, and then that's it, they fix their place.
I see a range of children. Currently those children are from the ages of about 3 up until 10 or 11. And many of them are kids who have verbal difficulties, so they can't express themselves very easily. Some of them are on the autistic spectrum, and as we know, the autistic spectrum is a spectrum, so some of the children are quite severely autistic and some less so they might be quite verbal but still have autistic features. I've got other children who may be very severely dyslexic and also have language problems, so expressing themselves in words is often really tricky. So being able to use the Lowenfeld materials, the world, particularly the sand wells, offers lots of opportunities for the children. So because we've got dry and wet sand, they can use it just sensorially, so they can feel it, pour it, stick it, build with it, break it down, see whether the sand has a constant shape or a changing shape, and explore that sensory material. But then also they can use it as a way of using toys to express thoughts and feelings that they're going through. So this is a session that took place in the clinic where I work, with Therese Woodcock, working with a girl of 8 years old, getting her to make a world in the 2 sand trays that are available to her. Smoothing out the sand so that it's as unmade as possible, so that she's got a kind of blank canvas.
As neutral, yes.
The first thing that is happening is that she's really getting a feel for the wet sand and making her own impression in it, and moving it and feeling it and making holes with her fingers around the edge.
I was very interested to see that she ignored the dry sand altogether and started on the wet sand straight away. And she was trying to shape a mound, and then that developed into a wall, dividing the tray into 2 in the middle.
And making a hole now between the 2 sides with her fingers, so that there's a connection. But she has already put in the 2 aeroplanes onto for the left-hand side from her point of view.
Now she's making lots of holes and then rubbing through them. Usually the trial and error is in an area nearest to her.
Yes. I do tend to find that the older girls and boys would tend to use the wet sand first, and the younger ones would tend to use the dry sand first.
Yes, I think I would agree from my experience too.
And now we can see that the wet sand tray has been made, and she's moved over to the dry sand tray now, and just
She's also making a wall in the middle.
yes, and using her hands to shape some kind of wall or barrier between the two sides of the tray.
Between the left and right side, yes. But it's not very easy, it seems, because she keeps breaking it down and starting again.
But as I said, it's a little bit like she's trying out what's possible and what can you make happen in this dry sand. Moving it around.
And now she's using a rake
She's
to
trying,
lever it.
yeah, trying different methods to get it
Yes.
how she wants it. So now she's going to the trays to see what things she can find in there to put inside the sand tray.
Yes, it's actually sort of a slopey from the right to the left, yes. What she's doing is actually picking up all the greenery from the toy box, like trees, and then some of them are of leaf, but she's using it as grass and ground cover.
Yes. She's gone back to look for more things now. She's found a green hedge, more green trees, leaves.
Yes, but mainly flat on the sand
Yeah.
rather than standing up, but the first one was definitely standing up, away from her.
Yes, the furthest one. Now she's found a
tent.
tent, American Indian tent. And she's searching for some more things in the trays. And she's found another tree.
Well, I think she's now saying that it's actually a desert, but there are some green bits. And then she says that there's this tent, and it is at the top right-hand corner. And did you say?
She said there were people inside and they were sleeping.
Right.
And then you asked her what she thought they were doing, or what would they do, the people, and she said she wasn't sure.
Oh, she didn't know, that's right.
Yeah, actually I'm not
And-
sure.
Yes, and I asked her to maybe imagine what they might do, and she preferred not to know and to say that she didn't know than to try and imagine.
Yeah. Now we're back to looking at the wet sand again.
That's when we were actually exploring what the different things are.
Yeah, and
And
she's
she was
talking about the different sections and what
Yes,
they
that's
represent.
So one is the desert, the other one was land, and then there's the sea, and then where the plains are is the sky.
Yeah.
So basically she's covered the world.
Initially, I think she said that where the plains were was the city,
Yes.
but then she changed her mind and she said it was the sky, because that surprised me slightly. Because the way initially she flew the green plane across the wall from the tray,
Yes.
where she got the toy, and then she knocked some of the wall down as if she was making a connection or a space between the two sections. Then she built it up again.
But I think was quite clear that she couldn't represent the sky
Yeah.
just by using the planes, because they would have to be suspended. And so she put it on the sand tray, and I think that's what she meant.
Yes, I think so. The whole, the sea, the land, the sky, the desert and the earth, the wet earth, everything is there.
Quite early on in her research, stroke therapy, she discovered, you see, the word world. When she was asking a child, she says, oh, well, tell me about what you've made, which is what she says, because she doesn't want to restrict a child as to what it is that they were doing. And the child said to her, oh, she says, this is my world. And she thought that was a lovely word. And that's one of the things you notice, is that Lowenfeld tries to use the words that the child uses for what she calls, say, this is an elephant or whatever. She just says, well, just tell me what they are, not tell me about the elephant, because for the child that may not be an elephant. For the child it might be something else, whatever it is. And so you do not, when you're talking to them about their world, do not restrict their vocabulary. It's the type of child as well, so you watch not just the final product, the final picture, you watch the process as well. And so it gives you much more of an impression of the nature of the child, as well as the way they think about how they do things.